right, welcome back. I'm Heather Childers. Bob Sellers is off today. Let's bring in our panel to react to the interview that we just watched with President Trump from the border with our very own Emerald Robinson. I want to jump to some of the topics that she touched on. There were a whole lot of them. Stacy, I'll start with you here. In terms of Senator Mitch McConnell leading the Senate, he said, you know, Republicans continue to, quote, eat their lunch on that, and that he will have a hard time endorsing anyone who still believes that he should be the leader of the Senate.
So I want to, first off, kudos to Emerald Robinson for another fantastic interview with Donald Trump. She always handles those so well and gets to questions like, I think to myself, that's one of the questions I would have asked had I been there. So kudos to her. First of all, I think that there's something very important he said there, and that is that he's looking to the future. He did not complete the agenda that he wanted to. No second term means there's a lot of things left undone. And he's actually telegraphing some of those things. Mitch McConnell was very useful in preventing Obama judges from being appointed for 2 years and then holding off on Merrick Garland and then rushing through and confirming so many judges when President Trump was in office. But behind the scenes, he wasn't an ally. So it's time to have an ally in that role.
Okay.
We need fresh blood, someone more like President Trump.
Stacey, sorry to interrupt you. And panel, just pause for a minute, because as we promised, we're going to bring President Biden to you there, who is actually not at the scene in Surfside, Florida. He is speaking from the St. Regis in Miami. Let's listen.
Working in tandem from the moment we got the news of the collapse of the building. And I think my colleagues will tell you we cut through the bureaucracy. The one order I gave the federal folks was no bureaucracy, just cut through it, get to whatever they need. That's why we decided to cover, for example, 100% of the search and rescue cost for the first 30 days. Not done often, but necessary here, in my view. And FEMA is going to provide temporary housing and other urgent needs for the survivors. State Department is expediting visas for family members from other countries, and there are from Latin America, South America, Europe, Israel. And I want to give a special shout out to the first responders. International Association of Firefighters, one of the best organizations in the country. And I particularly want to thank the president. Ed came down from Boston, and he's here with the entire group. You know, these folks are always showing up, no matter what. They're risking their lives. You know, there's that old expression, I know the press that travels with me is tired of hearing me saying, but I'm not tired of saying it. And that is that old expression, God made man, then he made a few firefighters. The remarkable.
All right, so some words there from the President of the United States, President Biden, attempting to be the comforter-in-chief there from a hotel in Miami, not actually at the scene there in Surfside. Carl, any thoughts on that?
Well, again, he's striking the right tone and tenor, delivering the right message. We'll see how long it lasts. Again, I see these tragedies, and suddenly we see an immediate lurch towards advancing a political agenda. And we're seeing that already with this building collapse in southern Florida. So my hope is that we'll continue to see appropriate tone and tenor from this administration, but I won't hold my breath.
Yeah, an appropriate tone and tenor, Carl. And I know that one of the other things we were going to discuss is perhaps what was the exact opposite of that when it came to the previous administration and a continual witch hunt for President Trump that actually led into today, some would say, with his CFO of the Trump organization now charged in terms of some tax crimes, although he has pled not guilty.
This is a clear pattern of these Democrat prosecutors, and let's call them what they are. They're Democrat political prosecutors, and they're going after President Trump, and they're finding nothing. You know what they indicted the CFO for? Not paying taxes on a car allowance. We're talking about chump change. Again, it's not right that you don't comply with the law, but I would love to see how many Democrats could survive the forensic investigation process that has been imposed on President Trump and his family
Right.
and all of his employees.
Yeah.
There's no fairness in this. There's no justice in this. And we need to call it what it is, a political witch hunt continues.
Let me get Andrea in here for a final word before we run out of time. You know, we do know that it's about $1.7 million that's in question between 2005 to 2016 or 17. There's a 25-page indictment that lays it out. But a final word for us, Andrea, on whichever you want to talk about, the President Trump's interview or what President Biden had to say today there in Miami.
Well, I would like to piggyback on Carl bringing up what's so important to talk about today that might be a distraction from, and that's the ongoing witch hunt. I said 4 years ago, going into 2017, that the Democrats were going to dig until they found that President Trump had written off a hammer from Home Depot for which he did not have a receipt. This is our entire Department of Justice using its weight and its force to target Americans for their political beliefs, and that's what this is about. And it will continue against all citizens. We will all be Michael Flynn. We will all be Trump going forward.
All right. Well, panel stand by. A lot more coming up in today's show. More hot topics to talk about.